talk that long. Oh, it's on. I have to leave for work soon.
We're live in Trenton. Fighting the rain. It's actually not raining right now. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Sandheim.
Sondheim? You haven't hosted the show in like a long time. Woo!
No.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Marie, Michelle, Robert. Yeah, we're going to go live. We're waiting for Jeff Oakes to get here. He's got a lot to tell us. And we're actually in the mud. Hope it really is. You know, they cut that tree down? They cut the 4 trees over here that look just like this. And then last week, they cut that tree down. That big one. That was like this sister tree. Why would they cut that beautiful tree down over there?
Wow.
You see that big stump?
Yep, I remember we sit under it.
We used to sit there.
Wow.
That's
why.
Yeah, they can redo the cement. You can't redo a tree.
Right.
Like, that tree was like hundreds of years old.
Right.
Really?
Not cool.
Not cool at all.
Wow, that's terrible.
Yeah, I don't know who to call about that one.
Nobody. There's nobody to call about that. They don't.
I know.
They're going to be like, alright.
Oh, okay. We'll take that into consideration. Thank you.
Right.
Call again.
That background music's nice.
Morning, David. Good morning, Jim, Jamie. Jamie's at Ronald McDonald House today. Good for you.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really nice. Good morning.
It was literally downpouring really bad here.
I'm just on Forest gonna grab some pizza and then dip set.
Yeah, we got pizza here if you want to come down. We got pizza and got Jeff meeting the governor. We have I got assaulted again. That's how I got assaulted. And I'm being nice. I'm like to build your ramp, sir. And they're like, boom. Okay, I guess not. Sorry, we're really late today. We're so late today. Oh my goodness. Happy Halloween, everybody. Sondheim. Some Haney? Some Haney?
No.
Sondheim.
Down when you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown and you fool bitch. So just step back. I'm mad dad when I come down straight. I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
Good morning, Justin.
I'm back on the scene. It's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
All right, stop the intro. That's the most amazing pizza I think I've seen all day. Look at this thing. Look at this. It's a happy Halloween pizza. Oh my goodness, that is just wow.
Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with?
We got pizza. Let's smoke.
Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? 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 Who you wanna roll with?
All right. This pizza's amazing.
It is really good.
Wow. Y'all are missing out. If you're not here,
Jolene. Is that the way the song goes? How does it go?
Sanjay. Where are you, Sanjay?
Because it's the fucking Bollywood music. You're fucked up. I was talking about the Jolene.
Jolene.
Sanjay, get over here and do some Bollywood for us. Wow, it's so good.
Come smoke with us, Sanjay. Actually, he won't smoke with us.
Why?
He only smokes organic cannabis.
Yeah.
Very specific, organically grown cannabis.
I mean, yeah, because he's smart.
He's very specific. Get up on that mic. It's amazing that he
I
grows.
know.
It's
I
a
know.
sweet Virginia soil.
Yep.
It's called. And he explained it to me why it's so good.
Yeah, Sanjay's the man. For real.
Yeah. There's things in that soil that you need, and you can actually reuse the soil.
Like different tubs of, like in each different tub you would have like different kind of worms.
Yes.
And like how he does, you know.
So cool.
Yeah, smart guy.
Yay! Jeff Oaksy in the house. Well, in Trenton, at the State House. Nice.
All right.
Wow, Jeff Oaks is here.
Hey,
Awesome.
I'm gonna stop talking. I gotta go.
Hey, we're here for another month, Ariel. Come by anytime. Any Thursday.
Alright.
Next week, we're going to have the immigrant license people here. There'll be hundreds of people here fighting for immigrant licenses, driver's licenses.
Okay.
So if you speak Spanish, we need your help to translate.
All right. I speak a little bit of Spanish.
Me too. Enough to get me in trouble.
Thanks for the pizza. You're the man.
Thank you.
Slab with the pizza.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right. Bye, guys. See you later.
Later.
Gotta go back to work, unfortunately.
Back to work. Back to get that pizza. So anybody's welcome to the pizza. We like to feed the people here in Trenton.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Have a good night.
Have a good day, guys.
Thanks. See ya.
Bye.
See ya. And yeah, get this up here. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Right.
I'm glad you made it.
You know,
It stopped, buddy.
good. I was driving around Oceanport, and I realized it was Thursday.
Nice.
I was driving around Oceanport on the high and realized it was Thursday, but I was out of my realm because I could not sesh because I had to do some banking and some garbage.
Here, here's some headphones for you. You can adjust the volume. Here you go. Is that too loud? If it's too loud, just turn it down.
What?
Turn that
There's
down.
some pizza too if you
you go.
want
Yep.
a post-workout meal.
Yeah, we do have pizza.
Yes, I actually nibs.
Okay.
They're not dabs. We need Twizzlers.
Twizzler dabs.
But I'm going to work on trying to make those because I think we can do the same thing that we do with the root beer barrels, where you melt them in the microwave.
Now, what do? You melt the root beer.
Yeah, for those that are watching,
Yeah,
it's
what do you do?
real simple. You take a piece of parchment paper and your Twizzlers, but it's real simple. You take the piece of candy, you put it on a piece of parchment paper, you put a little dab on there, whatever you call a dab, and you melt it all together for about, depending on your microwave, between 35 seconds and maybe a minute, and it's extremely hot, and you just gently mold it back into the shape of the candy. Your answer is you can put it right back in the watermelon wrapper. You've seen it the way I make it at home, and it's really easy, and it's a great way for people to medicate. Yes,
Okay.
very good point. Raw cannabis oil that is not wave, I don't do it. I don't necessarily suggest you oven. And use your temperature setting on your oven and cross bowl with a cover on it so it doesn't evaporate. You don't want to lose your medication. Snow. It happens at 27 degree or 27 minutes on 245 degrees. That's the perfect. You can also do it with flour. If you want to decarb your flour, you can just maybe grind it up a little bit, wrap it in some foil, and just use the same recipe. 245. 27 minutes, bang, you're done. And the beauty of that is, or you want to put some butter on your steak, cannabis butter, you don't have to worry about the science of activating your cannabis with your butter simultaneously, because you have a ready to go, fully, or have it at the table where you can mix it with an olive oil and use it in a salad. Boom. It's so, yeah. Recreational cannabis in our food, I guess it's business, and they all say the same thing. They want access to cannabis so they can, that in itself is a problem.
Right, right.
Not a problem, but
What's your favorite?
I do enjoy. I love the root beer barrels.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
But as far as actually, but obviously we spoke about it. The best way is cannabis suppositories, which I can't stress to everyone out there that is the best delivery system if you have certainly dysfunction in your abdomen and your organs, your pancreas. The brain is loaded with neurotransmitters, and those are the transmitters that need to be targeted with the THC and the CBD and the whole spectrum of cannabinoids. Interestingly enough, my research, all the information that I've come across is that, and I don't use it. I don't use CBD because of what I've studied, the size of tumors, believe it or not. So I've been successful with RSO oil.
Well, depending on which source the CBD comes from, because there are different sources now they're using, I understand, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's part of it because it may be THC. The answer for cancer may be THC and one of those other cannabinoids. Just one of them. But we don't know because of the stigma, but that's why we're in front of the State House.
That's why we're here.
And I'll be part of it. And I hope I do right by all the patients.
He was just like,
I'm crying out because we've all seen the suffering of one another.
yeah.
And it needs to end. And the stigma needs to end. Assaulted. And the countless other stories. My God, and I don't think the fellow was a medical patient.
Road. On a roadside. You're going up the guy's butt. Like, really?
What
do we, what's that?
Well, and we have a police officer out in the street sticking.
Not with that finger.
You won't be the last one, nor the first one.
So, Jeff, what happened the other night? First of all, I did spend the day with Deborah going. He says, send me an email. I'm like, okay, I'll do one better. We'll actually bring the stage 4 cancer patient to you, and then you could talk to him. And that's what happened. You got to.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing transpire. I think I watched some of your video in the morning, so I saw Deborah, I guess is her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Deborah. And as soon as I walked in the room, I know I did it kind of automatically because if you're going to get something done, you got to know who the people are in the room, which I didn't know her, of course. But when you identify them, you need to go address them.
Right.
And you need to be quick at it because everybody else is doing the same thing. So we got our message out, and I was very surprised. I was in tears when they pulled my question card.
Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing. Grab a mic, grab some headphones, jump right in here.
Yeah, so basically, I think what I did, I hit him with a burning question that I'm not sure anybody here points to the hypocrisy. I mean, how can our government here be the gatekeepers of what we put in our body when they give us cigarettes and alcohol? We're having an attack on vaporizers when cigarettes have been around forever and have been killing people forever. Same with alcohol. Cry about our increased cost of health benefits. Mm-hmm. It's like if you're going to cry about how much cannabis is or how much your health care is, do your part and take care of yourself. Don't be part of the problem.
What did your question say that you handed to them?
After the fact, I wish I'd take my phone out
I'm thinking that too.
and taken a photo of it
picture of it.
just for historic purposes, just so I could have it in my... They'll assist me and allow a physician to give me a prescription for sacobarbital in a lethal dose.
Suicide.
A lethal amount, yeah. A physician-assisted suicide, and I believe the way they do it, they just, give you the pills. Probably they write you a script. I mean, there's this process you have to go through. I think there's 2 signatures that 2 doctors that lives in Oceanport, and he's not losing his mind. And in fact, he is making a sound decision. So there are a few things to go through, but basic plants. So it's preposterous. It's hypocrisy at its finest. You know, it's the same people
It
that
is.
bring us alcohol, and now they're bringing us death medicine.
Wait, why just 6 or 7 plants?
Well,
in my recent letter, I wanted
Yeah, you
for,
want
No,
18,
no.
right?
for a 6.
I'm
for
cool.
A 6
I'm cool with
plant,
21.
I want 18.
I'm cool with 21.
for a 6 plant continuous harvest, what I suggested to Governor Murphy was 6 vegetatively growing plants, so plants are just growing big, 6 flowering plants, and then 6 plants that are in a cutting.
Well,
something.
it's supposed to be 3 in a veg, 3 in a flower, and 3 in a preemie, and then 3 in a clone.
What is that again?
3 in a, like premature, like babies,
Okay.
and then 3 in a clone. Like, you know, I mean, 3. Well, clones, you know, say clones in there, because clones clones is a clipping, but you need, like, you know, you need babies. Then you need, like, the, you know, medium life cycle, and then you need the flower.
Yeah, as long as they sort of anything that whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, just so that I don't know. There's more because when they add 6 absolute on there,
It creates a problem because the public who doesn't like what we do, they're going to have issue with folks using heat lamps and growing their own stuff in
But
their own home.
the,
Certainly
the
when it
nature
comes
the nature
to
of freedom, the people who have issues with it, don't grow it. Don't do it.
Oh no,
That's problem solved.
exactly. But here's where the problem arises. Like we're here in Trenton, there's plenty of people that rent, and their landlords are going to take issue to it if they turn their bedroom closet into a heating lamp and the energy
Right.
meter starts spinning like a.
But people talk about safety and stuff. I was talking to you about this yesterday, Lefty. A lot of the high intensity discharge lamps use 1,000 watts. There's not
Right.
anything using more than 1,000 watts. 1,000 watts isn't that much. It's
And, I mean,
if someone links up 10 of them with an extension cord, yeah, that's a problem. But to have one lamp going is no more risky than having an air conditioner going. It's not that they get that hot.
and the funny part of it
It's
is,
just
I
it's,
agree
it's
with what
more. This is a new stage of reefer madness. Like, oh, there's going to be fires.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Oakes is going to become Don Corleone. He's going to start producing it.
I got news for you.
I got a question. Can you grow tomatoes inside a house
That's
yeah,
my
yeah, you
point.
definitely can.
I do it
with the
ev-
same kind of light?
I do
Yeah,
it
for
every
sure.
spring. I do it every spring. I have an indoor grow for
oh.
vegetables.
Wait a second.
Wait, beefsteak varieties, they're not going to work out well, but for cherry tomatoes, they work out very well.
No,
You
no,
can
no,
grow-
no. I'm
Oh,
saying
boy.
But
I'm gonna
yeah,
try that.
you can grow
Yeah, I'm
tomatoes
down.
indoors with
with the
light.
same setup.
There's no law saying that I can't run
With the
a
same
light
with
to
the same
grow
nutrition, the
tomatoes.
same
make one
setup.
for you.
But however, when you change the plants, it's all of a sudden gonna be a problem, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. You can douse all your fine culinary extracting cannabis with alcohol, which is a cold procedure with no heat. That's dangerous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, the hypocrisy.
You can't make it up.
No, it's.
Those are the people that assault us.
Yeah. But I do have to support this bill just to get this bill
Well, you
through.
have to,
I have
yeah.
to support it because we have to get something done, and then we'll have to worry about the stuff later with the home grow. And sorry, Jeff, you got to wait. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
You gotta wait.
Unfortunately,
How much time you got? Oh, you got to wait. Sorry, got to wait. They're making you wait.
yeah. I don't know. How much time do I have? How much BS do I have to put up with?
Right.
How long? I'm actually going through the process right now, investigating it, trying to find the doctor, which it's a mess. It's like people trying to get a cannabis card, trying to find the doctor. So trying to find the doctor that will assist you in suicide. Cancer is a fickle thing. It comes and goes. Tumors form. They respond to treatment. Sometimes they don't. My prognosis, for anybody who wants to listen or cares, I don't mind the size of a tangerine,
Wow.
maybe. It was considered borderline stage 3, borderline stage 2, stage 3. It metastasized to my liver, and that's been the scene of all my action. And right now I'm left with 50% of my liver. So as far as surgical procedures, I don't have too many more options. Whether or not it reduces the size of my tumors to allow another procedure, which could be a microwave ablation, which is less invasive. That's where they stick a needle in the tumor through the space in your ribs. And the look is not, my prognosis is not the greatest. So I don't want to put my family through anguish if I have options out there. And I don't want to suffer or be able to see even. It's a possibility that I could lose my eyesight from chemo. Chemo is crazy. There's so many side effects, but the cannabis has helped me through 39 treatments of it as well. My life for 3.5 years, and I am completely pharmaceutical free. So I don't know what the public is waiting for. I don't understand.
Quality of life is important too.
Well,
just
that's
being
that's a
happy,
huge,
being content, being peaceful.
That's a huge part of
feeling
the
less pain.
equation. And what I've found through my experience, you can be absolutely miserable in pain and help someone else, and it actually reduces your pain.
Yeah.
It's
Helping others helps reduce your pain.
our emotions are chemical reactions in our mind,
Sure.
so they have.
I mean, it's so good for
Profound
depression. I mean,
effects.
even the person's family, right? The person that's dying or has cancer, everybody's depressed, so it'll help them as well to cope with this,
Exactly.
as well as the patient.
Exactly.
It's a serious thing. I think as a society, everyone in this country is we're all anxious. Everyone's overworked. Everyone's stressed out about too many things. Politically, socially, health reasons. There's just so many. There's so many reasons for people to be able to access it.
Yeah.
To just live a more
less
butting heads and
alcohol.
less alcohol. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol's a killer. Wow. So, I don't think your family's gonna feel that way at all. I think they're gonna be happy that you're still here, and that's tough though. I don't want you to
The
suffer.
problems that I get from it are seeing other people watch me, so to speak. But
Watch you kick ass.
well, I don't.
Really? That's what you're doing. You're kicking ass.
That's for someone else's judgment at another time. Sometimes I lose perspective with my condition, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm hurting some people.
No,
but
you're
I
being.
come out strongly against this. I even have empathy for the woman that assaulted me at Monmouth Park, who tried to grab the joint out of my hand. I actually reached out to, and that function, that concert at the track that we were at, it was for a homeless organization. So we advocate for that. We advocate for the homeless. So I don't want to be that organization's enemy. So in the morning after that incident, I sent them their response for the olive branch. They blocked me.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not a good move.
So I'm not going to mention the name of their organization because, quite frankly, I think I forgot it. I could probably pull it up. But, I hope they're doing some good things. I hope they're not tied to what I'm afraid of. What their organization, they provide places for the homeless to stay in some way, shape, or form, or individuals are profiting on the, and all of us know about it in drug addiction, that the sale, one of their selling points is we offer 6 months of free rent if you complete your treatment. So I'd hope that organization is not catering to that system, that repetitive system that's failing people that are struggling with
right.
opioid addiction. I'll speak strongly on this because I'm from Monmouth County.
Yeah.
Sean Golden needs to go. He's
Yeah.
part of the problem. He's in bed with Mary Pat Angelini with behavioral health treatment facilities.
What do they
that-
call that? There's a name for that.
Uh,
Not human trafficking.
body broker.
Body broker.
Yes.
Yeah, body broker.
Yes, and I've been to countless meetings and I've confronted them, and they hate my guts because they all know. Well, they all know that we all know what they're up to.
Right.
AKA Michael Barry De Leon, who showed up in Oceanport. He was in jail. He was a gang member in jail for 15. Yeah. If anybody should be in the school systems, it should be us educating people on cannabis, not some flunky off the street
Yeah.
that's selling a product. Because after he said he was all into it and he gets nothing out of it, he tried to sell his book at the same meeting. Barry. Hey, we'll even send him an olive branch. You've had him on. You've talked
likes
to him on
me.
the yeah, you've had him on the show.
We
What-
get along.
You know what? When you're going delivering an anti-cannabis
That's not good.
rhetoric,
No.
while some of the people in the auditorium, either the children or the children's parents, could be medical cannabis patients, and they're saying, "My God, I'm afraid to even talk to my friends now and tell them that it's helping my kids."
Right, mixed message
And
there.
it singles them out. It makes them feel terrible among recommendations of the Board of Health. It's a complete different message from the Board of Health. They should be coming in there and telling the people, "Hey, if your children are sick and they have ailments, there are options for you, and this is one of them."
Right.
But no one's going out there. So you know what? Sold in public venues such as schools, community centers that are public venues. A church is another thing, a private entity. But for a school, all right, cool. Let's take down the wash your hands in the bathroom signs too then.
Yeah.
Because who the heck is the Board of Health to have an opinion? So,
What is your goal when you meet with the commissioner?
well, that was one of them. And I, for me personally, where am I going to get that from?
Yeah.
Who's going to grow it for me? What are you going to do to me if I grow it?
right.
Am I?
Right.
Am I?
That's
am
the
I-
question.
Am I a criminal for saving my life?
Right.
Attempting
How
to
long
save my
should you
life?
go to jail for? Can they let you out of
You
jail
know,
early?
I want to go to jail. I want them to take care of me. You want to know why? Because I want them to pay the $20,000 bill that it costs to treat my chemo. Let them have it. Let them have it, state. Come arrest me. Here I am. If that's the way the state feels, that I've lived here all my life, paid taxes to, raised my family for, you're gonna make me a criminal? Make me a. Maybe a miracle will happen. Maybe I'll get a magical response to the next round of chemo.
What if they make you a deal and they say, okay, we're going to get you your cannabis cheaper and unlimited supply?
Taking it.
Are you taking FICO? Are you taking any edibles for digestive?
I do.
healing?
I do everything. I do everything. There's not an avenue of or an application of cannabis that I haven't researched. I'm pretty much.
Whole grain cannabis edibles are pretty helpful. Being whole grain and leaving the flour in because it's good for
Yes.
the healing and for
Yeah,
nutrition as well.
I actually use after I make my RSO with the flour, I save the spent flour, and I make edibles with that.
Oh, okay. So you just use it just for the fiber then, and kind of the roughage and the leftover cannabinoids.
Exactly. Well, there's we talked about that the other night. There's leftover THC. It's what, G?
THCG.
G, that in the extraction process, the THCG seems to stay with the plant a little bit. Probably not in huge amounts, but when you bake that in a brownie, you will go to sleep and have a good.
Flour for smoking and for edibles to not extract it. I think it's important. I don't think anyone completely understands it. There's so many cannabinoids no one's talking about right now, but I know when you extract things, you're losing something.
Yeah.
You're selecting certain things, but you're certainly losing some things too.
Yes.
So I want everything. I don't want to mess with it because I don't know. I don't know better than the plant. I don't know better than God.
Excellent point.
I don't know about evolution.
And I would recommend that for general health for anyone, but for my specific situation, having cancer, in my research, I have found, and that was actually a governmental study that was done in the at the Medical University of Virginia back in 1976. They were looking for, obviously, the bad things in cannabis to demonize it, and what they actually found was THC reduces the size of tumors, and they also noted in that same study that CBD can increase the size of the tumors.
Oh, really?
But
where is
it's a 50-year-old study,
And,
so
where's the
Stem I
CBD
got
coming from?
Stem I got
that's
from Curaleaf.
that's the
Right.
question. Like I said before, it may be for cancer or for certain cancers, it may be THC plus this cannabinoid, that cannabinoid, and that one, and not the other ones. That's why we need.
No compassion.
Well, let me tell you this. Somebody in the world definitely has the research in their lab. Somebody with a lot of money, in other words.
Israel's
Israel.
kind of taking the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Israel's taking the lead on actual research,
and
not
we
just
know
for
that
profit.
public knowledge is not really, and especially when it comes to money, it's not really all that's really out there.
Knowledge
So
isn't-
somebody out there definitely has invested great wealths of money and investigated all these issues, I'm sure, but not to. But we need it for the public. You know, we need it now. I mean, you know, we need it to be either shared or we needed to do it ourselves or whatever, whichever way the path is to that.
It's going from just exploiting us as scofflaws, everyone being illegal, to now having us be the consumers. They don't care about the research. They don't care. You know, no one cares. The people that are in power don't care about researching the plant and figuring out how, you know, they just want to regulate it, make sure, you know, they're getting their cut. They just want to be the cartel. They want to be the top of the chain.
Well, I don't want to say all of them don't care because I don't like to.
I'm just speaking broadly as
right. Overall, this is what it seems
Yeah.
like is going on for sure. Yeah, it's definitely the appearance of the.
We talked last night about runoff from these cannabis farms.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What are these?
Chairman Danielson's the one representative who's been pretty interested in that, where I've spoken with him about that, but it's not something anyone's managing. I think I said it before that if right now it's not the dormant time, but in December, if you go and take weed and feed or some sort of fertilizer and throw it in your lawn, you're breaking the law. It's illegal to pour nutrients onto the ground certain times of year because it's frozen, it's not active, it's mostly just going to run off, it's not going to be absorbed or used. So if you did that, if I did that, even if Jeff did that, it's illegal. You're breaking the law for that. But then the large producers, all the ATCs that use hydroponic production, which is most of them, all of the wastewater is full of nutrients that are not being remediated right now, from my understanding, whatsoever. So it goes straight in the sewer. Whereas if you did it on a small scale, you're breaking the law. When they do it in thousands of gallons, polluting our groundwater, polluting our watersheds, nothing happens.
How do they fix that?
Regulations. It's the purpose of government to regulate these guys for our safety. They're not, this is what I said in my letter to the governor. They're not supposed to be regulating us so that they can make money, so that big business can make money. They're supposed to be regulating big business so it's safe for us. Grows actually
You're
looking
correct.
to lobby for home grow. So it's sort of like
really?
dancing with the devil, because of course they'll make money if New Jersey has Scott's Miracle. I think they've started some of the biggest problems of the planet, including this chemical fertilization, which has now led to a lot of.
To mention the pesticides that go along with
Oh
it.
yeah, that's just the tip of it. But there's so much to talk about. I don't want to.
No, that's good.
No, yeah, we're going good. We're going good.
I'll
Yeah.
just
Hey, clean environments.
Before Scott's Miracle Grow invented the first weed and feed, clover was a very desirable Dutch white clover. That's why it was the most expensive. Once they made the weed and feed, it killed the dandelions and the thistle and the other things, but it killed the clover too. So then they remarketed clover as a weed when it's actually very beneficial. It takes nitrogen from the atmosphere, it'll take carbon from the atmosphere, put it into the soil for the bacteria and the worms to eat. But it's been remarketed as now a bad thing. So when people see clover, they don't realize this used to be a premium lawn item, but because of the original Scott's Miracle Grow, it's become a weed, and they've started the poisoning of the world.
we really are sheep, aren't we?
Anyways, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Scott's Miracle Grow. You guys aren't the devil.
Listen,
You guys aren't-
you'll appreciate.
You guys aren't like Monsanto.
You'll appreciate this one. Keyword: bumblebees.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
can talk
that's-
about everything
oh.
else on this planet, and it doesn't matter if we don't have bees, right?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
This type of, when we get into these serious talks now, I've gotten to a point where I think just based on the data, it's too late. So people can agree or
I
disagree.
kinda almost
it's
agree
too
with
late.
you.
So we're all going.
We're done.
It's a decline. I do a lot of worming, so I think Earth is no different than a worm bin. Based on the environment of the worm bin, you can have populations, 100,000, million worms in there. If there's not enough food, if there's not enough resources, the populations start to go down. So I think in 100 years, our population, the curve's going to start changing because too much pollution, too many people with special needs, too many people. I don't know.
And if
I can go real dark here if you want me to. But I think
I'll go down
it's
there.
our names, for what's happened there.
And if you take the data and put it on a graph and you match up the curves, the decline of the bump.
I've seen things. If bees, they're disappearing at rapid rates because of a lot of different pesticides, and even some organic pesticides that are being used can.
You may have seen this out there. I read an article a while back, not too long ago, just to drive home the point how connected we are to the biosphere and certainly bees. Bees are now being used to diagnose cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's like
Naturally,
it's
though.
like a double bubbler almost. And when you breathe into it, if you have cancer, it will repel the bees into like the other chamber.
Yeah,
or
they'll run
something.
away.
And they'll
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you got cancer somewhere." You know?
That's
Is
amazing.
that accurate?
Yeah. Well, then you need.
No, good news, guys.
That's a good
I did
movie.
read an article. The government has developed a robotic bee that is pollinating the plants.
No.
Well, that's the next thing to go
No.
with the.
No.
Well, we're an
No.
overpopulated planet. And we're going to have to figure out ways to feed
God.
ourselves. I mean, that's just going to
I
be
think
part
there's
of
a
the
Black
equation.
Mirror episode about something like that. Isn't there? Electronic bees that run amok. You don't have to be too
Let's make
creative.
electronic mosquitoes. Why don't we?
In 10 years on Halloween, kids will send drones to pollinate each other's plants.
Hives of drones.
Now you're getting unstable genetics, bitch. Deal with it.
Oh my lord!
Why does my hash plant look like hemp? What happened? Wow. Good morning, good afternoon, Sean, DJ, Gianna. Keep fighting in Middletown.
Oh, is that Jenna?
Jenna.
Ah,
She's,
we're
she's
pulling
fighting.
for you.
Yeah, she's.
are doing you a favor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
don't
think
worry.
they're pushing your election. I think you can just kind of clap your hands and smile.
Yeah. Just smile. And, yeah. Just grin and just
Yeah.
Just move on.
Because even if you don't win, you've already been successful.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely won already.
Yeah. You don't need to be on council to affect your community.
That's right. I love it. Oh, man.
Hey, do you know where I need to go to pick up the permit? Is that in the State House? Yeah.
Can you make sure we have a permit for here so we can assemble here?
So do I need to do that down there as well?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There's one permit, and I think you need one for
And then to get a room here in the State House, I need to go in the State House to
that's
look
in
into that?
here. Yeah, that's
Okay.
here, I think. Yeah, that's different. And that's for November 20.
Legalization that day, and
Right.
they're going to put the needs of every single person in the state ahead of Jeff. So congratulations, Jeff. Thanks for
Yeah, Jeff, thanks for playing.
Oh, you're not
Oh, you're not leaving? I thought you were leaving.
saying hello. We didn't say hello to her.
Oh, okay. Don't leave. I know, you're always like in and out.
She knows what's going on. More than most.
One day we'll get her on mic.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Home grow, celebrate, I don't know, protesting for something we believe in.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to, up until this vote, I sort of want it to be the end, the climax of this. Right now, I was talking to Doug Cooper, and he sort of motivated me to, instead of just suggesting that they write a bill doing these things, to actually write a bill myself and say, this is what we want, what on here are you willing to do, and then kind of try to work with them to actually write it, almost like handing them
Gross.
something that they can rubber stamp. So I think I want to start doing that now if anyone wants to help with something like that. But I think based on what or plagiarize, one or the other. I think you can plagiarize bills, so I'm just going to cut and paste a lot of stuff and slap it together.
I saw the quite lengthy letter that you composed to the governor, which pretty much I was in a hurry this morning. I skimmed over and I read much of it, which was basically spot on. So if we get this meeting set up, I mean, everything in there is what needs to be addressed. I mean,
I
it's-
think the problem is no one cares.
right.
I think
Well, maybe
that's
maybe
it's like
now we'll get a little attention.
it's
and
just
maybe
I
we'll
don't
be
I
able
don't
to get
know
a few things out
what
of
they
it.
want it to take. That's what I want. If there's gonna be press here for legalization, yay legalization. I want there to be a group of people who are like, all right, cool, legalization. What about us? What about the people that were sick before Murphy came in and expanded this? What about the first generation of really sick patients here?
Well, let's not forget, before there was any one actual patient on this planet, we were all smoking it illegal.
Right.
That's like what came before the chicken and egg. Well, now we know,
Right.
So let's not lose
It's-
that with history, all right?
Yeah.
with our
It was
bodies,
ours first.
with our
Exactly.
bodies, we
That's
have
true,
we
absolutely.
have such a
Taken from us.
complex endocannabinoid system. A lot of scientists believe that human evolution is very closely linked with consumption of cannabis plants by earlier humans.
Oh, absolutely.
Or if you're from the God line, God put us here. God gave us an endocannabinoid system. This is what God did for us. But on the evolution side, it's also we have these things in our body. We've evolved, and our bodies have been designed to have these because this is a plant that's on Earth that is a healing plant. It starts up most of our body's healing systems. That's why we have receptors. You know, there's oxygen in the air. You can't breathe it. You got to buy your oxygen from us. You know.
Well, that's what's happening
People could
with
grow a
water
plant. People could
nowadays.
grow a plant
basically,
out-
Live on concrete. That's the bottom line.
Well, that's the water is like that's part of the problem. The planet's getting more and more polluted. Everything's just getting polluted. You know, we're in a bubble. So everything that gets burned and whatever, if we're mining from the center of the earth and burning it, it's all on the top of the earth now. You know.
Yes, it is.
In charred, cancer-causing form, and we live in it and we
Up
breathe
until
it.
1970, the government denied that there was a lead problem, and because it was all, in all the gasoline, there was
Jeez.
only one scientist. That's the only reason why we're still not polluted with, and it was getting really, really bad, like really bad.
It's interesting that scientists kind of get pawned off as these like radical, you know, whatever they are, you know, revolutionary cult leaders or something. You know, it's like science. You can't, you know, you
Right.
can't really fudge science. You can fudge numbers and things, but science is pretty solid. You know, it's a lot of.
Sorry, guys. I'm just reading here. On a brighter note, my church, Liquid Church, paid for the school lunches for a bunch of families, 1,500 families. 1,500 families who couldn't afford their school lunches. Liquid Church stepped up and paid for all their bills for this year.
That's pretty great.
That's pretty amazing.
That's very amazing.
I like this church because they're active. They do activism. They do stuff.
That
They
is a huge.
Do they support homegrown?
I haven't had that conversation yet. I'm going to have that conversation.
Pastor, sit down. We got to talk about this.
That's a huge compliment for them. I mean, I've been with other groups, Vince Group from Monmouth County Care. We've gone to, I think, a few churches. And it seems like the best solutions to some of the problems in the community aren't spoken in the council meetings, in the public meetings. They're spoken in the churches, believe it or not.
Right.
And the forums that they hold are much more personal. We went to one, like many forums, it's like fill out a card and we might read your question or we might not.
Yeah.
The one church forum we visited and give 20, 25 minute speech, and then she took some questions, and then there was a period where people sat down at tables and they actually broke up into groups, because as the program goes along and the speaker talks, people start whispering in each other's ears.
Yeah.
And that forum, there was a point at the end where the people could actually ask those questions of one another rather than to the speaker. Because most of the folks that were there in this one specific church, they were mothers who have children in addiction and their hearts are broken.
Yeah.
And they want to talk to other people.
course.
You know, they've heard this. This is what you need to do. This is what you need. Send your kid here. Send your kid there. But they haven't been able to cry next to another mother with sanctuary for openness that you can't find in a council meeting. So.
It's beautiful, yeah. It's beautiful too.
Yeah, I slept in a cardboard box one night in the rain. And it was the most incredible experience of my life because it was a horrible experience. I was actually in so much pain doing that. And it was life-changing to see, like, to feel what not even, that's nothing compared to what the homeless people go through, but it was like a slice of it, a tiny slice, and it was awful.
I tried a few times. I mean, I'm sick. But for me to stay outside all night, it might even kill me. Who knows what the conditions are. If it's cold enough, or I get damp, or I get wet. But, I mean, even if you drive your car around at night, there's like no place to go.
It's getting cold
It's
now.
brutal.
Yeah, it
To
is.
hear the stories that Vince tells with Monmouth past history, but you know what he's doing God's work, my Lord.
Yeah.
He goes out and delivers blankets when it's like 5 degrees in the middle of January. He talked about I think it was a couple, I don't know the specifics, that were camping, I think, on the beach in Keyport. And the cops would come. They had to take their tent down every morning because if they didn't, the police would come take it down and confiscate it, and they wouldn't even have any shelter for the next night. I mean,
Wow.
put on the proper protective gear, go fishing on a freezing cold night on the beach. people do that. It's just,
Maybe
It's
an,
inhumane.
maybe an addiction,
it is humane.
hungry,
Inhumane.
Yeah.
lonely, tired.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
good. Not a good thing.
Excluded.
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 I think one of the prices on some rent controlled apartments there was like $1,800 or something in the area. It's like where does someone go? Yeah, I mean we all know the whole story. Somebody gets hurt, they take an opioid, they start shooting heroin, they fail a drug test at their job, they get arrested in their car. Next thing they're in the mill, and they're on the beach in Keyport.
Yeah,
How fast can that happen?
it happens quick. And
3 months,
it's-
6 months?
You don't even realize it's happening when it's happening.
You can get addicted in 3 days or less. So the addiction part of it can happen pretty fast. If you're unlucky to draw a random the following day after that at work, now you're out of money. Now you can't pay your rent. Now you're on the street. Now you're in a tent in Keyport on the beach. Bad guy. Is that a bad guy? He's looked at as a bad guy. And it's not always the case.
No, definitely not. Nothing is cookie cutter, you know.
I had my brother-in-law Frank died in June from an overdose of fentanyl. And all the months that we were worried about Frank when he got out of jail, we were scared because he was, in active addiction. He was, stealing. So we played really good defense. We got our house all locked up. We put all these locks on, these special double bolts, and we put the alarm in, and we put cameras everywhere. We played the best defense we could play. We were safe. But what we didn't do with Frank, we didn't play offense. We didn't reach out to him as much as we should have because we were scared of him. We were scared.
That's the problem. There's a violent part of it that's very difficult to deal with when that component enters into the whole equation.
Looking back, yeah, I would have done it differently. But at the time, we were scared of him. We
Yeah.
were locking our house up and protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
That's
That's the sad ending. It's just, I've seen it. Leaves certain people with the responsibility to take an action against that person when you really love them, but yet you have to protect the other people that are either in the household or around the person. And it's a very difficult and painful choice to make.
I tried to talk to him about cannabis, and it was way too expensive for him to get involved in the program. It was easy just
Well,
to
we're
go
gonna-
get a dime bag down the corner.
Yeah.
Life is easy.
Probably even better quality.
Well, no, I'm talking heroin.
Oh.
I'm talking dime bag of heroin.
Oh, okay.
Instead of getting on the cannabis program and getting off the heroin,
Yeah.
which is a whole thing in itself. That's not easy. It took me months to get off that damn opiates that they had me on for my back surgeries.
Right.
Months. 3 times it took me. It was not easy. And I wasn't even abusing this crap. I was using it like my doctor told me to use it, and it was still
The reason
dependency.
it's so difficult for people to get off of opioids is because they're trying to do all the work through the opioid receptors in the brain.
Oh.
Yeah, most people do not. Works for pain
Yeah.
more efficiently. Well, I would say more efficiently or more effectively at times than opioids. If you have really widespread breakout, terrible pain, you're not going to smoke a joint and make that go away. But if you take a couple doses of morphine, that pain's going to go away. But the only problem is, number one, the problem is not the opioids.
Yeah.
The problem is the dopamine
Right.
that we're addicted to.
Right.
Most people think, oh, he's addicted to opioids. He's addicted to heroin. No, he's not. He's addicted to, okay? Problem with the opioid receptors in the neurological cells is that it requires a little bit more each time to release the required amount of dopamine from that. Something that people will say, well, he made a decision to do it. It's like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
It's like you drinking water when you're thirsty. It's going to happen or it's not.
Well-
So that's the addiction.
I can add to that, and it's really hard, like how many patients or how many humans on this planet do you think have really tried 8,000 ever, And so none of us, so only science really can determine these things exactly. I mean, to the T. before.
And we need more help. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
But sometimes the shit sticks to the wall. That's
Yeah.
the good part of it. CB1 and
Hello?
CB2 receptors is that cannabis releases dopamine through both.
Mhm.
The CB1 and the CB2 receptors do not need more cannabis or THC. Now will release the same amount of dopamine in your system. That's why cannabis. That's why cannabis is not addictive, folks.
Woo.
That's it.
Thank
On the air.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, good. What's going on?
I'm still sick, but I wanted to check in with you guys and see how you were doing.
Well, you can hear it. Stop raining,
Rain
and
stop.
we're good. We're smoking, vaping, all that fun stuff. Even Rose came out today to say hi.
Am I still here?
Oh, you're the best.
I miss
Thank
you
you so
guys.
much.
All right? I
Thank
hate
you.
the house.
I gotta go. I'll see you.
Thank you so much
That
for
dress
joining us
sucks.
the other night. Like I said, I'm so happy that you were there because
I am too.
I know the work.
It took me a while to get there. I was sitting on Route 1 all night.
I'll go back to listening.
She does, and she makes great donations to the podcast all the time. Thank you so much. Wow, that was very helpful. Next week's going to be huge. We're going to have the our Hispanic-speaking friends here, Spanish-speaking cannabis friends will be here.
See how my health is. I hope I might be on chemo that week, but sometimes I muster up the effort to get out. We'll see how it goes.
So your liver. I remember that because I was there when the doctor said it. It was like 3.
So that's roughly 50%,
Right.
and then 6 weeks they were very small. They at first could, and the surgeon that did the resection actually had a somewhat successful resection that allowed me to be like, I wouldn't say, I don't know what they officially, remission is between the surgery, between radiation, the resections, microwave ablations, the cannabis treatment. So far I've beaten the odds, but I'm kicking the can down the road, and it's catching up to me a little bit, but you know.
So it wears you down a little bit, like on the weekends after Friday.
Yeah, well, it's like the symptoms settle down while you're on chemo, or a few days after you're able to get out, and sometimes you go out and it'll be like bang, you just feel like depleted and like, oh, my day's over. I got to lay down somewhere.
Right.
So that's why coming out here is an effort. But this morning I felt great, so I'm happy I feel well enough to travel a little bit and drive, and I almost feel normal today. It's like so.
You look good.
My
Yeah.
color's good.
Yeah.
It's funny because like sometimes you look in the mirror and you see, man, I look like I'm gonna croak tonight. And then other times you look in the mirror, it's like, well, geez, I got a lot of color. My skin tone looks good, and it's just chemo's a funny thing. There's a lot of chemicals.
The chemotherapy every time you want.
Yeah, it's terrible to
How many-
experience. It's terrible for the family to watch.
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to be, in the chemo room with. It's like a group session.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you say that because
people really bond in there, and the
Yep.
families bond, and it's a special experience in a way,
and there's
But it's very it's sad.
it's a
and
sad. It's a solemn place
Yeah.
on a pump, but I also sit there for like a 3 or 4 hour infusion, and sometimes while I'm in there, and my infusion is done, and my pump is hooked up, and I can leave, I sometimes sit there and speak with the other patients. My doctor, who takes care of my hematologist, who takes care of my chemo, a little synopsis on what it would take to work through the system to get their cards. There's a lot of patients, like you say, that sit there and they get involved in conversations that are going on. And I wish they'd put the chairs in a circle rather than a line, because there's people 6 chairs
more-
away
yeah.
going like this.
Yeah.
Saying, what's he talking about? I don't
Yeah.
know what it is, but I like it.
taking other people there, have experience, but usually it's a new experience for everyone, and but after a while these things happen. It's not right away, of course.
and then The people that are repetitive like myself, I'll be going in for 40. My next treatment will be 40 if I go for it. When I first got in there, I mean, and it's sad. Some of the people you become friendly with, they pass away. But I knew people that were.
And kids are not prone to it as well. It's like everybody. It's like this whole full spectrum of humans. Men, women, kids, whatever.
But what happens is the people like myself in chemo, we become like the gatekeepers and the welcoming committee.
Yeah.
I've had countless people sit next to me in their chair for the first treatment.
Wow.
And
they're probably freaking
they're
out.
scared to death.
Of course.
They're scared to death. So when I tell them I'm on 39, they want to talk immediately. They want to know what they're in for. And there's a lot of, like, I use an outpatient facility that's part of Monmouth Medical Center in Long Branch. And I also I use the radiology department in Monmouth. My doctor is Dr. Sang Sim is his name. He recommends cannabis. He recommends my unlimited cannabis, and he's an excellent radiologist. If for someone who's in cancer treatment and is looking for a noteworthy facility, I would strongly suggest the cancer facility there and Dr. Sim.
Thank you.
And talking about Dr. Sim, him and I had some interesting conversations about cannabis. I can't say much. I won't. Also, while I have visited him, I've also advocated to the patient advocates in Monmouth Hospital. I've also done it in Robert Woods Johnson when I was up there, that patients that are admitted to the hospital who have medical cards need a safe place to medicate. You just can't simply take their med in my hospital room because the nurses are trying to take my cannabis away.
Yeah,
Nurse Ratchet.
Give me a break.
Nurse Ratchet
Like,
was
who-
trying to take my brownies.
What is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Was she a nurse or was she a security guard?
She was a nurse, but the
Okay.
security guards were also in
Okay,
there,
okay.
and they pulled out a piece of paper that they should have pulled out before they admitted me in the hospital and gave me the surgery,
No cannabis for you.
rather than getting me upset the day after they cut out half my liver.
Only fentanyl for you.
So that's one of one of the things among many that I advocate for. Obviously, is a safe place for patients to medicate. Because their answer to it was, like, when I first got diagnosed, like over 3 years ago, when I went to Monmouth and I had my colon resection. Well, you can't use your medical cannabis, and here's your Mirinol. I told them, throw the Mirinol in the garbage. Thank you
really.
very much, because it's useless. I did take it. I'm like, this is a joke. So, make a long story short, when they took my colon out, or part of it, my colon stopped working after the surgery.
Wow.
It's a condition they call ileus is the term. My colon stopped working for 14 days or so, and they had to put a feeding tube in my artery and fish it down next to my heart and feed me for like 6 or 7 days to keep me alive because I couldn't pass food. So, in the meantime, my wife's arguing with them. He needs his cannabis. So they finally agreed to let me off the floor in a wheelchair. My son would, and this is the middle of February. This is how I had to medicate, and this is why I advocate to the hospitals and the patient advocates at the hospital. My son had to wheel me down in the middle of February down to the parking garage, and actually we weren't technically off the property. But that's what they said. I had to medicate off the property. So we went down to the car. My son would go down. He'd warm the van up. He'd wheel me down in the wheelchair with the multitude of bags hanging off of it. And he'd push me down and open up the cargo van door on the side. And he'd help me out of the wheelchair. And I'd sit in the back of the car. And I'd hit the bong for 2 days repetitively. And, a few days later, my colon started working.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
Yeah.
We were talking.
Yeah.
Sanjay was talking about cannabis and the colon and the digestive system. That's one of the biggest things, that's affected by cannabis, among others. I mean, it's.
You had to wake up. You had to wake your system up.
Yeah. Yep. And the cannabinoids did that.
Yeah.
The THC or the cannabinoids. Something worked.
I mean, my stomach went to sleep for 3 days after my surgery when they moved my guts around. And for 3 days, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't poop,
Right.
eat, nothing.
And, well, that's another reason why you got to stay away from the opioids, because it inhibits your recovery.
You know,
Yes.
you know what it could have been? It could have been just like, when you give a battery and jump start, kind of. That's what
That's all it needs. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
like that muscular electrical impulse, to that specific organ or something,
Laugh my ass off. There's always a joint in the bathroom. Always a joint in the bathroom. Yeah, someone who has colon issues. I mean, it's. They will all tell you.
Yeah, there's a fan in there. Just who cares? Just smoke it up, man. You're not bothering me. Vape it. Just vape it or something.
Actually,
We vaped in your room.
for
Just do
actually for immediate relief of colon dysfunction on the toilet, I actually find that a good joint works better than the vaporizer. Why
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I prefer.
Other people may have a
flower,
different
but-
experience.
No, it's the extra you're missing because all my good stuff is stripped out of my wax. I have wax here, and all the good stuff, not the good stuff, but some of the good stuff is stripped out. I'm not getting all those cannabinoids that I need. So I have
We're
to.
greedy with our cannabinoids. We want them all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for my
I'm
pain,
usually not greedy, but that's one thing.
when you're in pain, you need all those
Yeah.
cannabinoids.
Yep.
You need the antibacterial, the antifungal, there's all kinds of stuff you need. All good, man.
Yeah, I'm on a perfect level today. When things go haywire for me, and I go off on a tangent for up to 5 hours, where I just take in as much cannabis as I can, and then what I notice afterwards, I'm back kind of in the place I am like today. I'm more coherent. I feel better. I'm confident to drive. And for those who are listening, you have a question about my confidence in driving. My confidence in driving is the same as anyone else's out in the community that may take a medication for whatever reason. And it says it right on the pill bottles. Use caution. So that's what we use. All of us use discretion. If it's not a driving day, you don't drive.
Right.
I'm no different than the next guy. And I actually.
Well, as far as I understand, tobacco and alcohol, they actually constrict your arteries, correct? Where, I mean, if cannabis is prescribed for glaucoma, then, how would that not be making...
Science.
Nobody. I mean, somebody does, like I said,
except
but
few
not
people.
enough, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, and my guru, and if anybody's out there that wants to know about cannabis, biology, the origins of life, evolution, you need to study and watch the videos and the research of Dr. Robert Maldemide. I can't spell that for you. You'll find it. But he's been studying cannabis for 50 years. He's been using it for 50 years. And he is one of the few biologists that were instrumental in which, interesting enough, it only happened in 1990, that they discovered the endocannabinoid system. And since then, they've been working on it for a multitude of things, but his research is mostly for cancer. So if you have cancer, look this guy up. Anybody that contacts me wants to know about cannabis and cancer and how it relates to one another, I forward his video. And it explains everything. It's an hour-long video. I sometimes there's shorter versions, but for someone who is just starting out with and diagnosed with cancer, watch one of his videos, the longer ones. And even if you don't have cancer, it's well worth watching. The guy has put a lifetime of study into how our endocannabinoid system interacts with the cannabinoid system outside our body. And that's why I'm not dumb anymore.
Anymore.
I'm dumb in other things.
I like that we could sit at Monmouth Track and just like vape, and nobody even bothers us. Like we own that place. It's like they don't even bother us. It's great.
There's just no words to describe it, to feel that welcome.
Yeah.
We just don't. We don't get that anyplace
No,
else.
we
We don't get
don't.
it right here.
No.
You know, I've seen the cops troll us here. You know, over there, they don't bother us.
And when you got assaulted, they were all over it. They were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you can
no, you
smoke
can
your
smoke
cannabis
right here."
We're
Yeah,
sorry.
and-
We're sorry you got assaulted by." This,
And then the poor woman got arrested. And like I said, I have empathy for her, but she learned a hard lesson. You know,
just come to the light, lady.
that's
Just
all.
Come to the light.
That's all.
That's
That's
all.
all. And it wasn't as if I wasn't, making myself known. I had the patient tag on.
Yeah.
I had the patient tag on, and I also had a cane in my hand. I was using a cane that day. Sometimes I
Yeah.
can't walk well. I had a cane. Sometimes I have a walker.
Yeah.
But that day I had a cane.
Right.
So, here she is swatting at someone with a smoking, and everyone was smoking cigars and cigarettes, but she chose me to swat at.
yeah.
She felt offended.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here standing there with a cane. I'm
Right.
like, that's a hate crime.
That is a
it's a hate crime.
Get the guy with the cigar behind you.
That's a hate crime.
The guy with the beer and the cigar. Go after him. No, you're gonna get the guy with the cane and the joint.
If I didn't have a cane, maybe you could say, well, she didn't know. But it's like, come on.
Yeah,
What are
really.
you what are you doing? You don't know that, I have a cane and there's a medical program? What rock did you have your head under for the past 8 years?
Did Mikey press charges too, or did he letting it go?
No, he let it go.
go.
He's working. He's busy. I get it,
Sorry. But the option's there.
Oh, it won't go away.
You got 30 days or more than that.
No,
You got a year.
I think there's quite a bit.
Got
I'm
a
not
year.
sure, but if I was that lady, I would make. Whoever you are, I forget your name, but if you ever watch this, I would suggest that you reach out to Mike and apologize to him, and he'll accept your apology, and you won't have to live nervously for another year.
Yeah, he will accept your apology.
Of course he will. Just like I extended the olive branch.
You tried.
I tried, and it didn't happen. So I'm going to play your game.
Now we
it's
gotta
not
play-
my game.
Right,
That's
right.
not the game I wanted to play. We're
Yeah.
playing her game now.
That's how I feel when I got assaulted. Like I didn't want to fight with this guy. I wanted to
No,
build
you wanted to
him a
help
ramp.
him.
I'm
You wanted
gonna-
to help him. You wanted to help him, cost free, come into appliance with an ordinance or an ADA.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you a ramp, buddy.
I'm going to make you help you be ADA compliant without you spending a dime. What part of me don't you like?
the camera part. I didn't like the camera at all.
Well, that's another thing that people don't understand. When you're in public, this is New Jersey.
Right.
You can have a camera in your face.
Thank you. Thank
As
you.
long as we don't hit you with it or throw it at you.
What's the law in Pennsylvania with filming? Is it
That I don't
different?
know. But I was at a last night. Jeff King and I and his wife Laura went to it was debate. It was held. Where the heck was it? It was in Ocean. It was sponsored by the League of Women Voters. Hogtalling was there. What's the other? Oh, jeez. I hate to insult her and forget her name, but that's me. It's not her. There's the woman that he runs with, or whatever.
Okay.
That they're pretty much on the same page with most of the legislation.
Not
and there was,
JC? No. No, that's by me. I know.
but there were other two gentlemen that were not incumbents. I can't remember their names. But yeah, it was almost a sad thing to there that we're having the debate. None of them really had answers, and quite frankly, I don't expect them to have answers. With a multitude of things. Most of the stuff I'm referring to is money and budgets and education. Most of the talk was education, because the municipalities are screaming because the state is broke, and they're not throwing down. I guess excuse me, I'm out of the loop a little bit on it, but they're not throwing down, I guess, the funds that they have in the past to help people build their schools or improve their facilities or upgrade their technologies. So it's a struggle. Like my town needs either one new K through 8, or it needs a K to 4 and a whatever. But I think now they're going to choose to remodel them. So Personally, I thought that was the answer all along, but it's very hard to tell a community who's full of young people with kids that, hey, that old POS school that we're going to fix it up for you. They don't necessarily want to hear that. They don't like high taxes, but at the same time, they don't want to pay for a pristine new school that is A to Z. But what they don't realize is, I come from construction. I work with a lot of engineers. That many of these old buildings can be worked on, reconfigured, improved to bring the old structure completely 100% up to compliance, construction-wise, ordinance-wise, code-wise, ADA-wise, the whole thing.
Like Brielle.
Is that what Brielle did?
Brielle's a mess. Remember Brielle?
Oh, that building itself.
Remember that
yeah.
building?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
The public building. Yeah.
Police station.
Yeah, upstairs.
And the council.
Yeah.
You can't get to either. But when they want your money, you go to Manasquam.
I want to listen.
Come on, man.
I want to go back there. I want to go back there on a Friday or Saturday night and watch the cops drag drunks up the steps, because you know it has to go on.
I did
right?
an Oprah request for that.
That's got to be funny as hell.
I asked them how many people in wheelchairs were processed, and they next day they told me 3. The next day I got an answer. They knew the answer. They were waiting for me to ask. Three handicapped
So
people.
now we're left with wondering how they got.
I want to know, where's the video of that? Did you carry them? Would you throw them down? Did you let them slide down? What the hell? I want to know how. That's unbelievable. No processes, no plan. Just let's see what happens. Like, what the? Really?
That was hilarious. I mean, it was sad. Us crawling up, literally crawling up the steps.
Yeah, I crawled into the council meeting.
So did Brian. Yeah.
He actually did because he couldn't help it. He was hurting.
Yeah,
both of you guys were hurting. That was friggin' sad. That was really sad seeing all that. Oh God.
And then they tried to tell us we couldn't film.
Oh well, yeah.
How'd that go over, Brielle?
Oh, that would have got ugly real quick. That would have got real ugly real quick. Oh my God. Yeah, we need to go back there.
Oh, and I can't come all the way out to Trenton without sending my regards to Dean Wormer, the mayor of Barnegat. What's his name? I don't know why that guy popped into my head when I was coming across 195.
Oh, he's a hurtful Christian, that guy.
Oh, man.
He makes Christians look hurtful, and we're not. We're really not hurtful people. We're helpful. And good Christians don't judge each other, and they're just helpful, and they say good things. They don't say hurtful things.
For those who didn't see any of it, basically at this one particular Barnegat Council meeting, whatever month it was, they created an MS month, an MS multiple sclerosis awareness month. And at the same meeting when they did that, they banned the sale of medical cannabis for MS patients. You can't make it up.
While trashing gay people. Hating on a group of people.
Yeah, he doesn't like anybody.
You know, Christians aren't hateful people.
They're not supposed to be.
They're not supposed to be hateful people. And if you're gay, in the church that I go to, if you're gay, you're definitely welcome. You're absolutely welcome. So I don't know where all this stuff comes from, where you're supposed to hate on gay people if you're a Christian, because that's not true at all. All the Christians I know love gay people. I don't know what the hell church this guy goes to. Not my church. I want to thank cmmnj.org for their support all year long. SativaCross.com, MagicalButter.com, UFCW, Local 152, NewJerseyWeedman.com, DavidVersusAutism.org, Medical-Freedom.com, New Jersey Grannies for Grass, JacksonStorms.com, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, Pure Puff Vapor Supply, and Sativa Cross West.
And Rose McGill.
Rose McGill. Thank you, Rose. Let's see if this will go through. This would be nice if this happens. We have our list here. And this list sucks. This list is all of our friends and family and fellow freedom fighters who have died fighting for this medicine. Like Cheryl Miller. Jim used to wheel her out here to the State House. And she would fight from her gurney with her just her head. She couldn't move her arms or legs. She couldn't move her arms or legs, and she came out here fighting, knowing that she would not live to see medical cannabis legalized. But she did it for you. She did that for you.
Little Jake Honig.
Be like Jake. Be like Cheryl. Jake Honig's on our list, too. Sabina Rose, little 15-month-old, had a 26-hour seizure. I can't imagine having a 5-minute seizure. I can't imagine having a seizure for 26 hours.
10 seconds.
It's hurtful. Diane, Gracie, Cindy Mae, Marie, Jack, Joan Ford, Randy Robertson, Polly Connolly, Bill Buckman, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ Perry, Roger Barber, Jay Oleto, Ella, Hattie Koshel, Jackie, Anthony, Little Jake, Jake the Tank. That little kid was tough, man. He said to the doctors, I don't want a wheelchair. I don't want a bed. I want to walk.
That's a haunting photo out there that I saw of him walking into surgery with the two doctors or aides who was taking him in there, holding his left and his right hand. Powerful photo.
Yeah, he wanted to walk. He wanted to walk in there. What did he say to the doctor? He said, "Fix me, doc," or something like that.
I cannot say, but all I know is that every time I go for treatment, I take a piece of that kid with me. I want his parents to know that their commitment and the pain and their suffering, that their family and Jake went through was not wasted. For sure.
It's a very hurtful list, but maybe it's a hopeful list at some point, maybe helpful. My friend Armando's on this list. He died from tailbone cancer. Young guy, he was in his 40s, and he died from tailbone cancer. I never even heard of tailbone cancer. Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Carl. Frank, my brother-in-law, who I talked about before, we played, like I said, we played defense, and we were so worried about our house being robbed and our stuff being taken, and we didn't really play offense with Frank and reach out. We should have reached out more. But like I said, we were scared. Addiction's a scary thing. When someone's on an addiction, it's scary. And I'm thinking maybe we did something wrong because he's on this list. So we didn't do enough. We didn't do enough for Frank. I know Denise feels that way. And so do I. Because I help people. This is what I do. I should have given Frank some weed. But then what's that going to do? I give Frank some weed. Okay. Then next day, what? Just keep giving him weed? I don't have the money. I can't afford it. He can't afford it. So what's the answer? You need to grow it. You should be able to grow it.
And then the hard part is when we try to network so we can communicate and help one another, we get accused by Facebook for posting drug-related propaganda. Yeah. The one thing I'm waiting to be approached by the authorities to say that I'm somehow recommending medical advice. That's what I worry about.
Well, just pull out your camera.
Yeah.
Pull out your camera and let them talk.
Well, that's like saying, hey,
Grab that mic so I can hear you. Grab a mic. Grab the mic so I can hear you.
Well,
That's like saying, hey, buddy, you know, you should be taking your vitamins. Guess what? You don't. That's not good for your teeth and other things in your body. And
Exactly,
some
but-
people actually need them and they don't know them. So it's like insurance. You know what I mean? So what's next? Somebody's gonna come up to us and like while we're in GNC, you guys are. This is the black market for real here.
They're the same.
Like you know, you
those are
can't
the,
take anything. You
Those
know,
are the
like,
same
hello?
people that say no grow lamps for cannabis in anyone's homes. Those same people.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're there. They're out there.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in. Be back next week. Next week's going to be a big one. A lot of people here.
Oh, next week is what? The the march is in November.
The march is the 25th, but next week we're going to have a lot of Spanish-speaking
That's right.
friends
You mentioned
here.
that before.
And they'll be
I'd like
here
to
joining
I'd like
us.
to go to that one. I'd like to be here for every one of them. I wish I was 10 minutes away.
Me too. I'm an hour and a half away. Don't kill that bee. All right.
I don't know how you do it.
I can't wait till this season's over.
I think there's two lefties.
My back hurts. My back really hurts. Oh, man. The last name on our list is Honeybee's son, Michael Dillon. He died from a drop seizure. And one day he fell down from his seizure, and he just never woke up again because he hit his head. He was young. He was only in his 20s. And our government is forcing drop seizures on people. Like that girl Melissa in Pennsylvania.
Look, isn't that funny? You talk about honeybee and the bees landing on my coffee. That must mean something.
They took that girl's cannabis away. They said, the judge said you can't use cannabis on your probation. And now she's having drop seizures, just like Michael Dillon had.
That
Drop
was
seizures.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Where you can die. That's why they have helmets. Because when you have a drop seizure, you hit your head and you die.
I wonder if they take, when they process an inmate, do they take their diabetic medications away?
Maybe. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Hashtag they shall grow. And they will. Hashtag they shall grow. We added we added another verse here, so it's not they shall grow, hashtag they shall grow. It's actually hashtag they went with. Just kidding. They went with songs to the battle. They were young, straight of limb, true of eye, steady and aglow. They were staunch to the end against odds uncounted. They fell with their faces to the foe. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning,